Hammer attack inside Frankland prison. Now, this is in some of the main headlines today, more so, shall I say, online. I'm not sure about the mainstream media, but I have seen a lot of articles online and I have had a few messages and emails saying, can you cover this story? So I have got a video ready to be released later on tonight about an IPP prisoner, Joe Outlaw. So I decided to jump on and do a live because I've never been on here and done a live for a while now. So whether or not there's many people active, I will wait and see if a few more people come in because I am 7 hours ahead. Here it is now 4:30 in the afternoon, which is 9:30 in the morning back in the UK. So I hope you are all well. But this absolute fucking wrong'un, who is Damien Bendall, who was already serving a whole life sentence for murdering his pregnant partner and 3 children, has been jailed for the hammer attack on his fellow inmate, who is another bacon. I have tried to look into him. He's called Michael Mullaney, but when I have Googled him, there's only one Michael Mullaney that comes up, and that is a Michael Mullaney from Liverpool, who I suspect it is him, who got a life sentence quite a while back now. But if it's him, then he's obviously still in prison for whatever reason because he's passed his minimum tariff. And Michael Mullaney, the one from Liverpool, who I do suspect and think it is, was jailed for a series of rapes on different women in the city. So he's getting his comeuppance. And I bet these victims are very pleased to hear about what has happened to him because, like we say, prison justice is the best justice. And I will get into where it happened and how he managed to get a claw hammer inside of prison. Now, I've done stories on this absolute despicable. He's the worst of the worst, Damien Bendall. And we all are waiting for the time, or the day rather, when he gets his comeuppance and he gets a prison justice. It should have been him on the other end of the claw hammer, so he could have felt what it was like for his poor, defenseless victims. The crime that he done against his partner, his pregnant partner, and 3 children was absolutely fucking worst of the worst. What he done to those poor, innocent people in that house was absolutely beyond belief. Like I say, I've covered stories on this previously, but I will talk a little bit about these incidents. So I have got something up here. So Damien Bendall, which I've just mentioned, a notorious quadruple murderer, was recently handed an additional life sentence. He's got another 15 years, but he's doing life without parole anyway, so it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. This took place in May 2024 inside the workshops. So the workshops inside of Frankland, and it does say that it was his friend Michael Mullaney, one of the very few that interacted with him and used to play dominoes with him. And the reason why he's attacked him was because he was deteriorating. He says he was deteriorating in his mental health. If you were deteriorating that much in your mental health, you should have done the world a favour. And you know what I'm going to say, but I'll be careful on here because YouTube will not like me saying this. But we all know he should have done himself a favour and everybody else. But he's went on to attack another bacon. So again, 2 wrongs in this situation has made it right because obviously the other wrong'un has had a bit of prison justice and he has been kept down segregation and he will be put on units and he will be kept away and he'll not be allowed in the mainstream. Oh, well, he's on VPs anyway, but he'll not be allowed on the fucking VP wings for a very long time. But it was saying he wanted to get off the wing. He was suffering with his mental health and he's already serving a whole life order. So 15 years on top will not make any difference whatsoever. So Bendall, the bacon, was originally jailed in September 2021, and it was called the Killermarsh Murders. His victims was his pregnant partner, who was Terry Harris. She was only 35-year-old. Her children, John Paul, who was 13, and Lacey, who was 11. And while Lacey lay dying, that fucking monster got on top of her and raped her. That 11-year-old lassie lying, dying, seeing him on top for the end, the last thing she ever seen after she'd been brutally attacked and nearly dying. He went and done that before he then went and murdered her completely. And Lacey's friend, Connie Gent, who was also 11, who was staying there because she was having a sleepover. Lacey was her best friend, so Connie Gent was also there as well. Wasn't even anything to do with his partner or the kids. It was someone else's kid who was there having a sleepover. What a despicable, horrible, horrible piece of fucking shit. I've got to be careful with these and not a bit more professional people because they do flag up. So in December 2022, that's when he received the whole life order, meaning he will never be eligible for parole. So he should never be released from prison after doing that. And he's went on to attack Michael Mullaney in the workshops. So what I'll tell you about the workshops, they have different workshops. They have woodwork, they have bricklaying shops, different things like that inside of Frankland prison. So the workshops that Bendall was in, believe it or not, someone who's a quadruple murderer allowed in a workshop and allowed to get a hammer out. It just fucking beggars belief. It just, I bet that prison got some stick for that. There would have been uproar within that prison, and they would have been saying, how on earth did he manage to get his hands on a claw hammer when he used a claw hammer in the quadruple murders? So in the workshop, when he's went and signed the hammer out, he's been there and he's attacked Mullaney from behind, smashing him over the head. The first hit of the hammer has actually knocked him on the floor, unconscious. Then he's continued to smash him 3 more times when he's on the floor. So he can't just say that he was trying to get off the wing. He wanted to be down the block and he was suffering with his mental health. He was trying to murder him. 1 hit would have been enough to get you off the fucking wing, down the block, and kept in segregation for a long time. And if, like he says, he's suffering with his mental health, then he would have been assessed down there if he was telling them the reason he done it. But no, whilst he was on the floor, he smashed him another 3 times, trying to take his life. So what does that fucking tell you? So I'll just tell you a little bit what the report says here. So while Mullaney's specific original conviction, this is what I've been trying to look for, is often omitted from recent reports regarding the attack by Bendall. So the prison houses some of the UK's most dangerous offenders. That's why it's now become known as Monster Mansion. Well, obviously, Wakefield is the original Monster Mansion, and it holds more Bacons, nonces, than any of the prisoners. There's 4 wings down the bottom, A, B, C, and D, which is full of the Bacons. You've got the healthcare, which is full of the Bacons. And then you've got Westgate unit, which is full of the Bacons. Then you've got F, G, and J wing, who are normal location lads. That prison houses around about fucking 600-700 of the most fucking despicable type of prisoners imaginable. You've got Huntley there. You've got Wayne Cousins, Levi Belfield, all these absolute monsters, worst of the worst, and that's why Frankland has now become known as Monster Mansion 2. So described during court proceedings as a friend of Bendall, who sometimes played dominoes with him before the unprovoked attack in May 2024. Mullaney suffered depressed skull fractures and bleeding on the brain in a victim impact statement He expressed that the attack left him anxious and reluctant to leave his prison cell. Well, his victims on the outside, who he actually raped, will probably feel the same outside in the community, scared to go out at night, scared to walk around the streets by themselves. So the only good thing that's come out of this is him now knowing how his victims feel, now how anxious they feel about the attack, about leaving the house and feeling scared and vulnerable. And now the predator became the vulnerable, and he's been attacked by another predator. And like I've just said, he's had a taste of his own treatment. So I'm going to interact with the subscribers in a moment, because it's been a while since I've done a live on here. But I will just a quick recap. Damien Bendall, the quadruple killer, the killer murders, absolute despicable. You know what? I've got to be careful with the words, because the ones that I do want to call them people, it will flag up and it will not be seen. But he is the worst of the worst, and he's serving a whole life order, meaning he will never be released, thankfully. And he's been given life with a minimum of 15 years on top. Doesn't make any difference whatsoever. So that is what has happened there, people. Now, I have got my free Bronson t-shirt on. I done a video on him last night, because a lot of people have been seeing misinformation on Facebook and spreading stuff around, saying he could be freed any day. Bronson had his parole hearing on paper, which was a paper hearing, and they've decided to give him an oral hearing, which is good news. So I've done a video last night explaining that. If you haven't seen it, go back and have a look. And now, time to interact with you lot watching this. There is 80 odd people watching. So now I will have a look through the comments, do a little bit interacting, people. So Susie says, morning, Ricky. It's afternoon here. Morning to you lot back at home watching this. So Lynn says the house where it took place has now been demolished. Well, I'm not surprised, because who would want to live in that house knowing what had happened? That was one of the worst atrocities, one of the worst murders, or quadruple murders, the UK has ever witnessed. And like I said, poor Lacey, 11-year-old, her mum had been murdered, her brother's been murdered, a friend murdered. She must have been the last one. She was lying there in agony because he attacked her with a hammer. But then he gets on top of her and does the fucking most despicable and horriblest thing imaginable. For me, I believe in cases like this, where it is 100% certain they done it, they should be on death row, and they should be sent to the gallows, or sent to get a lethal injection. He's just wasting taxpayers' fucking money. He's not getting out. Send him on his way. Give him 2 years to think about it. Then give him the lethal injection, like they do in some states in America. That's what I do believe should take place. So Lynn says as well, I have covered this story in depth, and he took the child's PlayStation and took a taxi into Sheffield city centre and sold the console for drugs. What a slime ball. Yes, that's what he done, the horrible piece of shit. Went and done that. Then he obviously went back to the house. He rang the coppers, told them what he'd done, and he's just standing there. There is a video. I've done it on here. I'll put the video up, but if you go onto Google, put his name in. He's standing outside the house, and he's just like, tell them what had happened. The coppers that went in and witnessed that must have been scarred, or must be scarred for the rest of their lives. So obviously Lynn, just keep commenting here, she's obviously from down there, and Lynn says her kids went to school with those children. What an absolute shame. It must have had an everlasting impact on you as well, Lynn, you and your kids, because even the likes of myself, when you hear these type of murders, when kids' lives have been took and obviously things have happened to them before they've been murdered, it is absolutely soul destroying. It's hard sometimes when I cover these cases, and I've got to look into the details before I come on and do a video. It is absolutely heartbreaking. But before I go on, what I'm going to say as well, I actually woke up to an email this morning of someone. I didn't even read the full lot. I didn't even give them a reply. I just thought, what an absolute idiot. The title or the subject in the email said, "Get off your high horse." So I thought, what the hell is this all about? So I read the email and she said, "Reformed prisoner spreading hatred, talking about all these prisoners. My brother's just been sent to prison. Someone made lies up against him. He got found guilty and he's now in prison. I could have done with your help, but no, you're coming on and spouting hatred and you're talking about people in a bad manner." And I'm like, I thought to myself, I was going to reply, but I thought, you're not even worth a reply. I don't bother with fucking negative shit or comments or anything like that these days. That is all behind us. Same as on a live now. If any negative comments come on or any of the videos, when I flick through, I just go past them if I have a look at a comment. But she says, "Get off your high horse, talking about prisoners in such a negative way and spreading hatred." Every prisoner that I come on in grief is somebody who is an absolute bacon, a wrong and a nonce, a horrid person. People like this, I mostly speak about the high profile ones and the ones that have been attacked inside of prison. So what normal person on the outside watching these videos would think, get off your high horse and stop talking about these in such a way? If you are watching, you're not getting a reply. I hope you're still enjoying the videos. So what's that say? All systems down again says he is the most individual ever, period. He is, for doing such a horrid crime. Absolute wronging. Like I say, there's certain words I want to call them in different phrases, but the YouTube AI picks it up and it'll say your video has been removed because you've said certain words. So you've got to be careful. But if you are just joining, because I see there is a lot more people coming on, if you have missed the beginning, you can, once I've finished the live stream, click end, it will automatically upload. So then you can go and watch it again and talk about, listen to what I've been talking about. Right. All living in fear now, them bacons. Not sure what he's on about there, but if you want to come on and elaborate now, I will get back to that. So giving a man a 15-year minimum sentence after he's serving a whole life tariff is beyond pointless. It is. What's the point in giving him another sentence that isn't going to make any difference whatsoever? What I do believe in cases like this, when they're absolute wrong'uns, bacons, the judges should have the power to say, right, I'll sentence you to punishment inside a prison. You've now got to sit in a darkened cell for 5 years, 1 hour exercise a week, and just given bare minimum food and left to rot inside that cell. Don't give him anything so he can end his life or anything like that. Make him suffer inside that fucking cell for 5 years. That would be proper justice. Don't give another 15 years minimum term because it's not going to make any difference. Give him 5 years inside of a hole like they used to do. Have you ever seen the film Papillon when they used to send them to the punishment? The whole jail was like a punishment, but when they used to put Papillon in the block, that's what they should do with them type of prisoners who are serving life without parole. And they're absolute bacons. So, Darren McKinney, hi, hope you're keeping well. Patrick Walsh from Ireland. Chris says, take their luxuries away inside. That's exactly like what I've said. That would have happened, though. The governors would have put him in the block. He would, if he's not still in the block now or on a unit, that's what would have happened. He would have been in there a long time. But because of what he's in prison for, because he's so dangerous, and because he's tried to take the life of another prisoner, then they're not going to risk him doing that again. So he will be kept isolated, even though he will be getting his luxuries back because it's been such a time since it happened. He will be kept isolated, and hopefully he's getting very bad treatment inside the segregation or on the unit. So it seems to be a couple every week now not safe in Wakefield. Yes, there's loads happening, and that's why a lot of me videos have primarily been focusing on that, because every time I come to have a look and research videos, or people are sending us emails or messages and they're saying, have a look into this, do a video on this, or people from inside a prison are saying, have you seen what's happened? Because I do hear a lot of news from inside a prison before it actually gets in the press, as you know. People ring up and tell us things or send us messages, and I jump straight on it when I know it's the truth, because I have had people messaging different things before saying this has happened and nothing came out in the press. So I couldn't come on and do it because it wasn't from a proper credible source. There's a lot of people, like I say, watch me videos from inside a prison, and they do get in touch and say different things. So, Ray Pennybody, what's happening? How are we doing? Oh, we've got a new subscriber here. Lewis Hutley became a new member. Thank you very much, Lewis. Finn says great content again. Thank you very much. They're getting a lot of good feedback on my videos. If you have a look, the last video that had I put one on last night about Charles Bronson. The last one before that was one about Prince Charles, and that one's had 50,000 views. And I'm doing a video, I've done a video which is getting released later on tonight. Please watch it, people. It's very important. It's about Joe Outlaw, an IPP prisoner. He's been in jail for 15 years on a 4.5-year tariff. He's an active campaigner inside a prison, climbed up on the roofs in prison, caused a lot of damage. He's ended up getting extra time for doing it as well. But guess what? It's worked. It's got him in the headlines, and it's got the IPP at the forefront. So I've done a podcast with him from inside a prison. He's rang up on the prison phone, and his sister has recorded his voice messages, sent them to me, and I've put it into a video. It's going on tonight, people, so please do give it a watch. So Saab Ross says, get rid of jails, stop protecting them. Well, again, what's happening in the high security estate, there'll probably be a lot more bacons than there is normal locations. And they are starting to mix them more. Wakefield Prison used to be 90% Wrongans, 10% normal location. It is now 60% Wrongans. So just say, I'm not sure the exact number, but just say there's 1,000. There's 600 bacons, 400 normal locations. That's why there's murders being taking place inside of that prison, because these normal location lads are coming into contact with the likes of Wayne Cousins and Kai Bevan, and they're thinking, nah, I want to be out of this jail. I'm doing a life sentence. I'm never getting out. What am I going to do? I'm going to take a bacon out and get out of the prison. Best way to do it. But they're trying to do it across a lot more prisons. But again, if you've noticed the amount of these illegal migrants that are going to prison for raping innocent young women and kids in the UK are going into the prison system. What do you think's going to happen when there's more of them than there is normal location lads, and a lot of them are Muslim, and they're joining the Muslims in the high security estate? Before long, they're going to be turning a lot more of the prisons, like I've just said, into mixed prisons. But what's going to happen when there's more likes of the illegal migrants joining the Muslims? And it's going to get a lot worse. Believe you me. I'll leave that one for that for another time. So Joe Choi says good. Susie says, love your way of thinking, Ricky. If these bacons knew they would get that kind of treatment in the nick, they'd think twice before doing it. Then again, they think they'll never get caught. But they will do, especially these ones that have been caught in these stings and they're getting suspended sentences. They think they're talking to young kids. They're sending pictures of themselves. They're absolutely fucking absolute wrongins. But yet when they go to court, they get a suspended sentence. If they were all getting sent to jail for the first time, whether it's the first time or not. Send them straight to jail. They cannot be cured. Send the fuckers straight to jail. Give them a taste in prison. Don't put them on protection. Do you think they'll be back? Do you think they'll do it again? Do you think they'll risk doing it again? The majority of them probably won't. So if they're watching these type of videos, obviously there'll be no bacons watching this channel because it's a bacon hating channel. If they do come across the channel, they'll be like that straight away. Up, unsubscribe or unfollow. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see what's happening. But if they knew what was awaiting them inside of prison, there would be a lot less of this happening. So Lynn says ITV is putting adverts out. The prison service is recruiting for prison officers. Well, it's been going on for a while now. They're recruiting because they're short of staff. Obviously, a lot of the prisoners, the decent ones, the normal location lads. I've got a few friends inside a prison who are decent lads. I've met a lot of decent lads inside a prison, but they're suffering because of the staff shortages and the overcrowding. And again, when they're bringing these type of screws in, these new prison officers, they're giving them 6 weeks training. They've come from the likes of McDonald's and different things. You've seen some of them, 19, 20-year-old, I believe. One of them was, I think she was 19, young lass, bit of acne, spotty lass with the glasses. I put her on my Facebook, and she had been 6 weeks training, straight chucked in, loads of lads on her in the prison, thinking, wow, look at a young teenager, 19-year-old lass, 19, 20 or whatever. And they're all thinking, fucking hell, I wouldn't mind a bit of that. They're all getting on to her. She's loving the attention. She's ended up going with one of them. It's been all over the fucking papers, all over the press. She's been sacked. She's been sent to prison herself. And this is happening on a daily basis. These are the type of prison officers that are now running or taking control of the prisoners, looking after the prisoners, the ones that have just come in. It's absolutely outrageous. Screws used to have intensive training. They used to have to do, what was it? I can't think off the top of my head. They used to do training, and they used to have to be trained to be able to take people down and be able to wrap people up or prisoners up. And now these young lasses that are going into the prison, what's going to happen if it kicks off? They can't do anything. They'll just stand there screaming. They haven't got a clue. They used to have fucking protective training where they knew how to wrap people up, but there's none of that now. So when you put defective in jail, it weakens the community because no one has to deal with bad folks, so the community gets weaker and better at creating problems for the prison industrial complex. Like I've just said, it is an absolute farce, and it weakens the community because no one has to deal with bad folks. Right, so Tony says, need some kind of supermax prison for the worst of the worst, like what they have in the US. Yes, they have, like obviously the high security estates have got them in, but they need to have bigger prisons, like it's just said, to house these type of individuals and have punishment blocks for the bacons. Keep them in fucking dark and solitary confinement for months on end, because that's all they deserve. So Sabros says, like pigs, screws are a different species. Well, a lot of the screws, obviously, if anyone's speaking from experience and speaking the truth, when you're in prison and you're spending years in there, you do come across some decent screws, some decent lads. I actually met some decent ones in Frankland who were just there to do the job, and you call them all by the first names. It was a first name basis in the high security prisons, and not all screws are dogs or pigs, like he says. Obviously, the majority are, but there is. I'm not going to come on here and grief every single one of them, because there is some decent screws, and anyone who, like I've just said, is man enough to speak from the heart, or anyone who's done time or spent years on end. Maybe it's different if you're in like your local prisons, when they do treat you like shit, they talk to you like shit. But when you get to the bigger prisons, a high security estate, they know that they've got to talk to you with respect and try and build up a sort of a decent relationship, because if they don't, they get attacked, they get shitted up, and that's exactly the way it goes. So Ross says, Tony, they are American jails being built here now. The prison system is an American company. I got their business accounts. Well, some of the new prisons that have been built, I can't remember the names off the top of my head. I can't remember the names. There's been a few new prisons built, but believe you me, these new prisons are actually worse. They've actually been built to be like prisons to reintegrate people, give them decent peers inside a prison and decent jobs inside a prison, but they are more rammed with phones and drugs than most of the prisons are, and they've just went to shit. So that didn't work. Right, any more questions about anything, people? I want to wrap this up. I'll give it about another 5-10 minutes, see if any more interaction. If you've got anything, fire away with your questions, people. So Lynn says, how would Mandelson cope with prison? So I think it's Lord Mandelson, or Mandelson, however you pronounce it. I did have a look this morning because someone was mentioned something in the comments saying about talking about him. So I don't watch the news. I only like have a look on some articles online. I don't bother with that mainstream media shite because it poisons your brain. So I keep away from that. But I just do have a look on my prison app news just to see what's happening with the prisons. And Lord Mandelson, 72-year-old, I believe, misconduct in a public office. How would he get on inside of prison? Well, if he's not a bacon, because it's all to do with the Epstein files, that's what is happening with Lord Mandelson. So I don't know exactly, I don't know the ins and outs about what's happening, about what he's done, but I did see something about financial gain where he was passing on certain documents what he wasn't supposed to, so that's why he's been done with misconduct in a public office. I don't know if he's been involved or whether he's been near Epstein Island or been to meet him, or whether it's just been online passing information. If it is just passing information online like that, when he gets to prison, you'll be absolutely fine on normal location. It doesn't. They'll probably put him on the protection wing just because he's a lord, but he would be fine if it's just passing on secretive information to folk for financial gain. Then it doesn't matter if he's an MP or a lord or whatever. He would be fine inside a prison. So Wayne says it's on Nottinghamshire Live, Rick. So that'll be what's happened with Damien Bendall. So the ones that are just joining now, I'm talking about Damien Bendall, the hammer attack, quadruple murderer, absolute wrong'un. He's just been sentenced to another life sentence with a minimum of 15 years. And it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. But like I say, if you're just joining now, when I end the live stream, it'll upload automatically and then you go back and watch it, people. So Keith says, hasn't he been in prison before? I'm not quite sure. Like I say, someone had mentioned it this morning and I wasn't really aware of who he was or what he'd been arrested for. And it was misconduct in a public office. But when you do reading it says to do with the Epstein files, or Epstein, I'm not sure you fucking pronounce the horrible Roman's name, Epstein. The Epstein files, people automatically think straight away, right, he's been involved in the naughty fucking shit, what he's been doing. But I did have a little read up and it did say something about passing information on for financial gain. So we'll see. So 3 types of order followers. The abdicator, saying that they are just doing their jobs. The well-intended but completely wrong. Then the ones that don't give a shit. 3 kinds. I'm not sure exactly what you want about there, mate. 3 types of order followers. Do elaborate, Saab Ross. So, this one. And he would, and it says on he would be a bacon. Obviously, he would be a bacon if he's been involved and he's been to visit the Epstein Island, because we all know what's coming out about that. And there is a lot more coming out. There's a lot of high profile, a lot of MPs, a lot of fucking horrible people being involved in what was going on there. We don't know exactly what is true. A lot of these fake outlets are coming out and saying different things, but what we do know for sure is it was absolutely horrendous what was going on that Epstein Island. A lot of poor, innocent kids were totally violated. Some of them were getting took there by the fucking father. I seen one article of one thing that I read on, or seen on YouTube rather, and there was some email or something from the father saying, did she behave or something like that? It was fucking horrible. Just for money, he went and took his daughter there. Absolute wronging. There's a lot of conspiracies going on around that, but I don't go too deep into stuff like that because there's a lot of shit gets spoken as well, but we'll see what happens in the coming weeks and months. So Craig, how you doing, pal? He says, hi, Rick, I hope you and your family are well. Thank you for another awesome live stream. As always, keep up your fantastic work. I totally agree with you about that. Nice one, mate. But like I said, getting a lot more of these videos done, but I am going to start doing a lot more of these lives. I think every Tuesday around about this time. Like I say, it is now, time is it? It is now 5:10 over here in Thailand time. If I'd done the lives at 10 o'clock, well, around between 8 and 10 o'clock UK time, I'll be flat out. It's my bedtime then. I do wake up about 6 in the morning, so it would be 11 o'clock at night. So I might do a little bit adjusting and try doing it at that time of night to see if there's still people on. But I am going to be getting a couple of lives on a week, people, because it's good to interact with you a lot, to see how you get your feedback and see how much you're enjoying the channel still. Like I say, there's still a lot of people in the live at the moment. And I have recovered and I am back fighting fit, bigger, stronger than ever. On my other channel, I am going to try and upload a video later on tonight talking about my progress, talking about training outside my villa and teaching you a lot how to get in a better mindset. Because as well as this channel, I've got my other channel, Ricky Colleen Vlogs, which was Ricky Colleen Fitness. I think I'm going to change it back to Ricky Colleen Fitness, to be honest. It sounds better because it is all about my recovery. I'm free from alcohol, and I've never been on and said this before. I'm never touch and drink ever a fucking again. I've never actually said it before. Obviously, I've had a relapse a few times in the last 6 months, and after each one, I've never thought to myself, I'm never drinking again. But this time, I've been at the bottom. I was actually in one of the worst states of my entire life. I was actually that low. I felt like I was having sick thoughts running through my head about what I was going to do to myself. Luckily, I've come back from it, and I'm fighting fit. I've recovered. I'm in the best state of mind possible. I feel so fucking focused and so fit. I've dropped a couple of 2.5 stone, but I feel so much fitter for it. I've been on a calorie deficit. I've been walking for 3 miles every day for 3 weeks until I was ready to start training. I'm in my 2nd week of training, and I am feeling in the best state, both physically and mentally. I've never felt so good since I got released from prison in 2021, January 2021. Actually, I'm going to show it when it's there behind us, but that is the other physical copy. I've never felt so good since I got out of prison. 2 seconds, I'll take that banner off. Since I got out of prison, January 2021, I wrote my book during lockdown in COVID. During COVID in lockdown inside a prison. When I got released, I typed my book up, got it published. It's on Amazon. It's on a few different bookstores, Waterstones, W.H. Smith. It's sold thousands of copies worldwide. And when I got released, I was the fucking fittest mentally I'd ever been. Because again, when I was in prison, I was at my lowest point ever. I felt proper at my fucking low point, proper depressed. If anyone's ever been depressed before and suffered with anxiety, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I came back from it. I started using fitness to better myself, got myself in the fittest state, both physically and mentally. And I've done that again. That's how I feel now. When you've been at the bottom and you're fucked up like that, when you get better, you put everything into perspective. And I've come back from it. As you can see, I'm looking fresh. Got a nice shiny brow. My skin's nice and smooth. I'm not dehydrated no more. And I told everybody, I've told my close family members and told myself, which I've never done before, that I am never drinking again. Every time I've had a drink over them past 6 months and made a fucking fool of myself online, I have. In the back of my head, I've thought, right, I'm keeping off the drink for a couple of months, but I've always thought I'll have another one. This time, I'm never drinking again. So, Joe Choice, he has made up for you, mate. Thank you very much. Ross says, fuck drink, mate. Keith, stay well away, mate, and keep up your good work. It's exactly what I'm doing, pal. Thank you very much. Lockdown, I fugged that shit off. Knew it was scam before they'd done and convinced us. Stay away from the alcohol. It's no good for anyone. It's exactly what I'm doing. Like I say, I fucking went online, made a fool of myself, and I'm keeping off it totally. I'm fucking absolutely done with it. I feel so positive, so focused, so good. And like I've said, I feel fit as fuck already because of all the walks I've been doing. I've lost 2.5 stone. And when you become fit physically, every day you get 1% better inside of here. And when you fucking feel like your peak ability up here, so focused, so positive, not giving a fuck about haters or any hated comments. Doesn't bother me whatsoever. It never has done for years. But when I hit the bottle and I get fucking people griefing us or putting comments on, then the inner demon comes out and I fucking react to it, which is never, ever happening again, people. So I'll put that back on, sorry. So Andy says, it's funny you mention your skin. I was just thinking you're looking a lot fresher. I am, mate. I feel fresh as fuck. And JB says, the demon drink is poison to your system. You don't need it. Absolutely. Thank you very much, JB. JB is my moderator. And yes, it is no good for no man, nor beast. It is not good at all. It brings out, if you've got things going on in your life and you've fucking got conflict inside your mind, then you start drinking, that conflict comes out verbally, physically, and it's just fucking no good for no one. I can keep everything under control. I can control my emotions. I can control my lifestyle. I can control my routine when I'm sober and straight head like this. Soon as I hit that drink, I'm a binge drinker. I'm on it for fucking weeks and I can't control anything. I can't control my actions, my emotions, my routine. Everything goes to fuck. I don't eat properly. I'm not drinking water. And it's just totally no fucking good whatsoever, people. So it's coming up to nearly 45 minutes. I'm going to knock this one on the head at 45 minutes. 43. We've got 2 minutes left, people. Any more comments or anything you want to suggest or anything like that, hit me up, people. Craig says, Ricky, I am okay, but I am waiting for surgery. Keep your mind strong, Craig. Once you've had your surgery, keep yourself focused, keep yourself. But what I forgot to say when I was showing you my book, if you go on my website, I'll put the link in the description. I've actually put this on offer. I'm just going to take it off a second. I've put this on offer for $4.99. You can buy the ebook. It downloads directly to your phone, so you've got it on your phone, and you can take screenshots or whatever. But that is worth $4.99 all day long. It's the price of a pint. But that book, if you want to change your life and your mindset, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, I need to get myself active, I need to get myself fresh, and you're watching this now, that book, I'm telling you now, will change your life and your mindset. If you want the physical copy, I've also reduced the price on that. You can get it on Amazon for $8.99. I think if you get it on Amazon Prime, if you do Prime, you get next day delivery, I believe, or a couple of days. But $8.99 for the physical copy, then you've got it, people. Yeah. Right, sorry, what was Susie? You're doing okay, Ricky. You're looking really well, and that smile looks so much better. Drink is the devil. There's that nice, happy smile for you, Susie. It is definitely the devil. So, Keith says, you look like a chap that I would avoid in a ruckus. I don't get into ruckuses these days, especially not now that I'm sober. So, Joe O'Brien says, it's great to see you back to your normal self, Ricky. Mistakes are made so we can learn from them. Exactly. And that's why on my other channel, I'm talking about me fuck up as well and helping people, because people have seen me on here for coming up nearly 5 years on different social medias, helping people, because I originally started these channels up helping people. I wasn't talking about prison stuff and I wasn't talking about these subjects. I was talking about helping people, talking about my book. And I've helped a dozen people physically, in person, stop them from committing doing away with themselves. I cannot say that because it'll flash up. I've helped 12 people from doing that. I've saved 12 people's lives. I've helped hundreds of people worldwide. I've helped about another dozen online who've been in touch. And just by me talking with them online, sending them voice messages, they've replied saying, no, you've saved me life. I'm no longer going to do it. So that for me is my reward, people. So JB says, Ricky's book has helped me with my mental health. Recommended. Thank you very much. Joe Choi says, thanks. Lynn, thanks for the live stream. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for interacting. But like I was saying as well about my book and about my fuck-ups over the past few months, it's now showed people that, wow, look, he messed up. He was only on a couple of day bend. Or the first one in September was a couple of weeks. But I've come out of it each time and I've come back bigger, better and stronger. So the ones that are sitting at home battling, looking and thinking, fucking hell, how's he looking so fresh? How's he doing it? It's easily done, people. You've just got to have the right mindset. But you also need, sometimes some people need someone like myself to talk to them. So if you've watched me other channel, I am quite assertive when I'm talking and telling people to better themselves. In the book, that's why it's called Behind the Bars Ruthless Fitness. On me gym wear, I won the brand Ruthless Fitness. And I named that Ruthless Fitness. Me gym, which I've sold now, was called Ruthless Fitness. And when I teach people, I teach them the ruthless way. And you've got to be ruthless. And you've also got to be ruthless with your mindset and your own thoughts to get in a better state of mind. So Ross says, I'll need to fly to Thailand and do some training with you. I'm a baldy bastard as well. Get yourself out, mate. I'm actually in the process of setting up a retreat over here. It'll probably not be at the end of the year, but I'm going to get a retreat set up over here in Thailand. Obviously, you can pay to come over. And it's going to be like around about a minimum of 4 weeks. People who are suffering with addiction or different things and alcohol, takes 4 weeks of being off it and 4 weeks of getting in a better mindset, going out walking, eating healthy food. You will go back to the UK a brand new person, and that is my priority, and that is what I'm going to be doing over here. So this is the last one I'm going to reply to, people. So before Christmas, I found out that I got a brain tumor. Well, I hope everything goes well with your surgery, pal, and I hope it's successful, and I hope you come back fighting fit. He says, when I have recovered from my surgery, I'm moving to Dubai. I lost my mum and dad in the first lockdown, 2 days apart from each other. Well, it sounds like you've had a lot going on, Craig. I'm not sure if you've got my book or not. If you get in touch, I will actually send you a copy for free because, like I say, I'm all about helping people. Obviously, I talk about these bacons in here and the way that I do because people like that aren't worth the time of day, aren't worth help. But people that are sitting suffering with the mental health and the thinking about doing away with themselves, and yes, I'll help any way I can because that is exactly what I'm all about. But on that note, people, I'm going to leave that one there for now. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for interacting. And thank you all for your nice comments. And I'll be doing loads more of these lives. So keep an eye out, people. I will give you plenty more notice the next time. This one was just a random one when I thought. I was just out doing a walk before. I thought, right, I'm going to jump on and do this video because, like I've said, there's a video going on later today about Joe Outlaw and IPP prisoner. And that is priority for me. It needs to be seen. And that's why that one's been released later on tonight. So take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. And most importantly, stay safe.